guys too excited too soon?
Honestly, it hasn't been as difficult as I thought. I think one of the benefits of having a mature group that's been through some things is not to downplay this because this is so awesome, but the NCAA tournament is really, really nerve wracking. And there's a lot of pressure on you, and there's a lot of expectations. So are conference championship games, and I think most of the core group of guys have either gone through that or they came here because they wanted to be part of that stuff. And so their attitude is kind of what maybe I didn't expect, but what I expect at the end of the year, which is it's basketball. Let's really enjoy it. That's our number one thing right now. Let's enjoy the weekend. Let's have as much fun with it as humanly possible. Let's enjoy all the cool parts. And then for the 1 hour in film or the hour and a half of practice or the 2.5 hours of game day, let's really lock in and try to play basketball at as high a level as we possibly can. And I think we have a pretty good balance of that. I'm hoping this experience will prep us for what amounts to the rest of the year, and hopefully it ends up being great practice for some big moments later on.
I got one for you, Coach. Talking about that, obviously for a lot of people, this is an event more than it is a basketball game, right? And so how do you balance that fact with guys that inevitably hear a lot of that outside noise, and you hear these people setting alternate lines and doing all of these joking matters with the fact that at the end of the day, it's still 5v5. This is a real basketball game being played, and how do you get them to dial into that competitive mindset and make them believe?
Yeah, I think to me the biggest thing is embracing it. I think the number one mistake that to me teams make in big moments is they try to pretend it's just another game. And again, this is a really unique thing, but I want us to experience all of that. I want us on Saturday night to be super excited about getting a chance to watch Tom Izzo get his jersey retired at Northern Michigan and think it's a really cool and fun experience. I want our guys, not just this game, but all games, 3.5 hours before a game, I hope they're kind of joking and laughing and don't take anything too seriously. And you can be in this mindset of compete only for so long. And so I don't want to waste any of that time overhyping a competitive nature when we don't need one. But I do expect on Friday we're practicing. So we're going to do film for a half hour and we're going to practice for an hour and 45. I expect us to be dialed in mentally. I expect us to be focused. I expect us to be ready to try to compete as well as we can. And then when that's done, go see your families Friday night. Have some fun. Enjoy it. Because if you're not enjoying this, particularly right now, particularly this, you probably should do something else besides coach or play basketball because it doesn't get much more enjoyable than this right now.
Have you talked to Tom and just what's that been like?
Yeah, I mean, so over the years I've gotten to know him, kind of the way that you'd expect. Like, talk to him a few times, get to talk to him more and more and more, and talk to him quite a bit before this event. And everything that you would imagine, that's what he is. He's equally part humble and intense, which are two things that usually don't go hand in hand. But I think that's what makes him so special, is he's able to balance being intensely competitive with still, having those UP roots and being very humble. And I think the other thing about him is he's willing to do things that others aren't. He's not afraid, and you could say he's not afraid because he's won so much, but I think that he's been that way forever. If you think about it, and not that this is my place to talk about this, but he was at Northern, he was a full-time assistant, he left Northern to go be a graduate assistant at Michigan State. A lot of people could say that was a bad career move. Turned out, I think that one worked okay for him. So, you got to give credit to not just the basketball part, but I think that's still who he is, and that's why he's willing to bring his team up here and take 3 days and show off his home in college.
How do you simulate the speed and athleticism of Michigan State in practice?
You don't. Yeah, we can't. We try. I mean, there's so many drills that people do, and we're talked to a lot of people who've played them, and everyone's like, you got to get back in transition and you got to rebound, and if you can do those two things, you can kind of hang in there. And then there's a pause usually followed by, but you won't be able to do those two things no matter how hard you try. And so I don't know. I mean, we're trying. We're talking about it. We did a film the other day, which we normally do, a 3 or 4 minute film kind of previewing the team. And depending on what your opinion is, you could think it was a the most cool highlight film of basketball you've ever seen with all dunks on people, or it was a horror film for me personally. I'm going, oh no, I don't want that to happen. So hopefully our guys took it somewhere in between and have the right mindset of, we're going to get dunked on probably. But if we get dunked on, we got to inbound the ball and try to get it down the court and get a relatively good look on the other side. And, I don't know. I'm not putting any expectations on this game from a basketball standpoint other than I expect us to compete our tails off for 40 minutes. We're going to take care of the ball, I hope, because we're usually pretty good at that. And we're going to try to play hard and together. And if we get smacked on the scoreboard, I'm okay. I mean, it's not going to define our season one way or another. We're going to use this as a positive regardless of the outcome. But I do expect to play hard.
Have you thought about what you're gonna, see in the dome on Saturday with 12,000 people in there, and what kind of feelings that will bring about? Because it's gonna be something I don't think any of us have ever seen.
Yeah, no, I have briefly, and every time it's just kind of I can't even imagine it. I will say there's these cool moments within this. There's a lot of times where it's like, well, we got to get tickets situated, and there's so much work that goes into it that sometimes you don't stop and appreciate the cool things. The Bill Rafferty thing kind of hit me like, okay, that's sweet. The other one was we were talking to Michigan State people, and they said, well, what's your plan for people lining outside the door an hour and a half before the game or 2 hours before the game? And I'm like, man, that's going to happen. That's sweet. And then I started picturing everyone, these hordes of people walking in, and I mean, again, if some of that isn't cool, I think you'd be lying or you'd be, not qualified to be part of a game like this. You got to try to enjoy that stuff. And to me, there's going to be so many of those cool moments, one of which is going to be we walk in there and, I can't imagine. We come out for game time and you look up and there's that many people in there. I don't even know what that's going to feel like.
Final Four. Last thing for me, you mentioned Bill Raftery being on the call. Have you talked to him and Lisa yet? And also the just exposure for your program.
Yeah, no, I've talked to Bill, and everyone says how cool he is. I can vouch for that firsthand now. That guy's awesome. It was surreal and definitely a unique experience. The best part is I missed his call. So I have a voicemail saved, which is, I'm like, perfect. I'm really glad I didn't answer that. No, it was sweet. So the exposure thing I think is huge. And I don't just think, I think it to me is the other big part of this besides honoring Coach Izzo is Northern Michigan Athletics and the basketball program are all going to be on this pedestal that we've never been on, maybe ever, as far as, besides hockey, as far as a national scale, a national scope. And I think because of that, it's a great opportunity to showcase all of the things that are going on here. And I'm really thankful that the timing worked out, where we're doing this game after we've won 2 conference championships, after we've made 2 NCAA tournaments, because I feel like we're in a spot right now, not just as a basketball program, but really as a university, where we have a ton of things to show off and be proud of and all these upgrades and new things we're doing. And the timing of this is perfect for that, because I think all these people that are coming up for the game or watching on Big Ten Network who don't know anything about Northern Michigan, I think they're going to be blown away and go, wow, that's a special place and that's a cool place. And it'll help us in recruiting, but hopefully it doesn't just help basketball in recruiting. Hopefully it helps everything and everybody with showing what we have.
Oh, I don't want to ask this, but I will anyway. How many Colin Carr dunks were on that film video?
A lot of Cohen Carr dunks. It was like I said, it was kind of like a horror video if you had my mindset of it. I'm sure it would have been pretty cool a year ago, but it was a little scary. But no, they're really talented, and they've been practicing for a long time because they start in the summer. So they're I'm not saying mid-season form, but they've been going for a couple months. We'll have had about 6 or 7 official practices in by the time we play them. So the good news is at least their coach is inexperienced and probably doesn't know what he's doing. I think we can really get them there. But no, I don't know. They're talented. We're gonna try our best.
How excited are you to see all the youth from around the area, whether you're in Houghton Ishpeming, St. Ignace being at this game to witness Northern Michigan or Michigan State basketball?
Yeah, I think again, it kind of ties into like we're showing off what we have, what we are, what we're doing, and the reason that we're going to get a lot of people here is because Tom Izzo's coming back in Michigan State. But once they get here, I think it's a great opportunity to showcase what Northern has, and I think as far as kids growing up in the UP, it doesn't get much bigger than Coach Izzo. I mean, that's the pinnacle, and for us to be able to share the floor with them, especially with, like I said, the success we've been having, hopefully that can also elevate the Northern Michigan basketball brand to, is it going to be Sparty? No. Is it going to be the premier program in the UP where people want to play? We think so, and that should be a lot of fun as well.